Cathy.
I'm Rachel.
Welcome to Lunarbird Book Club.
I'm back again. There are spoilers for possibly 14 books in this video. If you'd like to know what they are before watching, click down into the description below and you can find out and then decide whether you want to watch it or not. For those of you that don't know, I'm a massive musical theatre fan, and in today's video we're going to be doing a book tag based on musicals. This is a tag that was made by Something Like Lydia, and there are 7 questions based on musicals and different things that we like about books.
Which I think we're going to really enjoy because we both love books, and we just love escaping into musical theatre, don't we? So I think it's going to be a lot of fun.
The first question is based on Wicked. Have you seen Wicked?
Yes. So we went to see Wicked on our first year anniversary.
Oh, that's cute.
Yeah. And that was the only time we went out for our anniversary. we stopped doing that.
Well, in Wicked, the musical, which is based on a book, have you ever read the book?
I have read the book.
Me too!
Mine had green edges.
Mine was a Kindle book, so I didn't have any edges. Anyway, in Wicked there is the friendship between Elphaba and Glinda, so the Wicked question is favourite fictional friendship.
Okay, so I picked for this one a very classic fictional friendship. I've picked Frodo and Sam from Lord of the Rings.
Cute.
And actually I think in Lord of the Rings there's lots of good friendships to choose from. Legolas and Gimli I think are a good contender too. But Frodo and Sam are just wonderful, and it's like their friendship that saves the world. And I think Sam is the perfect friend that anybody would want. And I think Frodo doesn't get enough credit because he's in the role of always having to be looked after. But I think Frodo really appreciates Sam right from the beginning. Like he really values Sam, and all the times that Frodo's like, no Sam, you stay behind, I don't think that's because Frodo's bigging himself up. It's because he doesn't want Sam to suffer and go through what he's going through. So yeah, I love the way these guys love each other. So that's my choice.
I also picked a classic one for this. I went with Anne and Diana from Anne of Green Gables.
Ooh.
I think that there's something so wholesome in the friendship. The fact that despite what the rest of the town think of it, Diana doesn't care. She just wants to be friends with Anne. She really appreciates the energy that Anne brings to the town, and I think it's just really sweet.
Yeah, and I think so because Anne's got a lot of insecurities about herself, but Diane doesn't care about that at all. You know, and she sees like the best of Anne right from the beginning. I like that.
They're true kindred spirits.
Yeah. Oh.
The second question is based on Sweeney Todd, the Demon Barber of Fleet Street. Have you ever seen that?
I've seen the film, and I really enjoyed the film. I've got it on DVD. What did it say about you if you really enjoy that film? Because it is so gruesome.
It's got a good story in it. It's got some good characters. I don't think there's anything wrong with enjoying that film.
Have you gone and seen it?
I've seen it twice, but amateur productions both times. But in Sweeney Todd, Sweeney isn't a nice guy at the end of the day. So this question is favourite villain.
Ooh. Do you want to go first this time?
My favourite villain is maybe a bit of no, it's not a controversial choice. I've gone with Cersei from Song of Ice and Fire series. I don't actually have the first book. Someone has been borrowing it for several years.
It's not me.
It's not Cathy. Now Cersei, I'm saying it's a bit of a controversial choice because obviously she is a victim of the system that she's in. A bit like Sweeney Todd, really. But I just think, you know, the decisions that she makes are not good, but she's so interesting, and I think the fact that you get her viewpoint in the books and you see the reasons behind what she's doing, even though they're not good ones, I think she's so fascinating. Yeah. And I like that you get to see how she ticks, even if it's not very sympathetic.
I've only read the first book. And I can't, she's not in her full villain mode, I think. Or maybe not she's a little bit, Yeah,
I think after book 3, when Joffrey and Tywin die, she kind of goes off the deep end and just starts lashing out everywhere, and she's got nothing to live for, really. So she's just wreaking whatever havoc she can.
That does sound really fun to read. My favourite villain, and I struggled for this one, and I don't know if I'm doing a cop-out answer. So from Rebecca, and again this is a bit of a cop-out. So there's Mrs. Danvers in Rebecca, who's just such an intimidating villain. She's a housekeeper who is just this dark, oppressive walking atmosphere in the book that's really scaring the new Mrs. De Winter. But also, she's a really good villain because she's just half mad and so controlled, and she's just terrifying on the page. But I think also Rebecca herself, and again, this is massive, massive spoilers, I think is a great villain. Now, I think some readings of Rebecca like to have Rebecca still as like a victim in the end, which she could be. Because we kind of hear about her from Mr. De Winter, who has reasons for us not liking her. He wants to manipulate us. But I like the idea of Rebecca being this highly charismatic, manipulative, fabulous woman who just goes around doing what she wants and turning the world and people around her to fit whatever she wants to happen. And I like that she's so powerful in life that even after she's gone, she's still holding sway over the house that she kind of made her own. So I really like her as a villain just because she's got such strong presence.
Question number 3 is based on Phantom of the Opera. Have you ever seen that?
Just the film versions, and do you know, I don't love Phantom that much.
I know what you mean. I've only ever seen the pro shot version. I haven't even seen the film with Gerard Butler, but I know what you mean.
Yeah, it just there's not as many songs that grab me in it, like they grab other people. And maybe Christine's a bit wishy-washy for my liking.
Okay. Well, the question for Phantom of the Opera is all about Christine and her men. This is favourite love triangle. You're first this time.
Okay. So, I don't love the love triangle trope. Because I think most of the time it's really obvious who everybody should end up with. So I really had to wrap my brains for one that I don't mind reading about. So I've gone back to classics and I've picked Wuthering Heights, which maybe is like the original love triangle. Between Cathy, Heathcliff and Edgar. And I think the reason why I like this one the most is because really the conflicts of who ends up with who, it's not so much about who loves one another, but more about what other things these characters want out of life and what can relationships, alliances, marriages get them. And I think it is complex. Like, so on one hand you think Cathy and Heathcliff are just meant to be together, but it would also be wrong to say that Cathy doesn't have affection for Edgar. Or that Edgar, when I reread it, I used to think Edgar was really like just a limp character, not that interested. But now I read back and I go, oh, he's got more to him. You know, yeah, he's gentle, but is that necessarily a bad thing? And is it quite a strong thing to be gentle when nobody else around you is? So yeah, this one at least has some interest for me, so I keep coming back to it. So that's my choice. Okay.
I also struggled with this one because, like you, I think they're either going to be really obvious or the chemistry between all 3 of them. I'm like, well, if you love each other so much, just work out some arrangement, you know? But so for this one, I picked Never Let Me Go by Kazuo Ishiguro. I think one of the reasons that Cathy, Ruth and Tommy is a good love triangle for me is, I don't know, I think obviously they're in such an awful position that the relationships that they have and pursue are kind of one of the only things they have control over. And I think the bonds that all 3 of them have are really strong. And I like the way that it plays out over the whole course of their lives together. I just like it. Question number 4 is based on The Lion King the musical, which I haven't seen. I've only seen the Disney film.
Yeah, same.
But the question is favourite sidekick, I'm assuming based on Pumbaa and Timon. My favourite book for this one, well, favourite sidekick from a book, I went with a Brandon Sanderson novel. I've brought Well of Ascension because I suppose they're not really in the Final Empire. So that's why I brought this one. Also, I don't have it in my house because I've lent it to someone. But I've gone with Tensoon from the Mistborn series. I think he's just the perfect level of weird little guy. But that he's also present in some really good emotional scenes, and I think that's what you want in a sidekick. Someone that isn't gonna trump the main character, but is also really crucial to plot and character beats. So that's why I went with Tensoon.
My choice, and again I struggled for this because I wanted to do Sam again from Lord of the Rings. I probably shouldn't. So I've gone with Fiver from Watership Down. Have you ever read Watership Down?
No.
You might like it.
So I think really sad.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it does. The ending makes me cry, but in a happy way.
Okay.
I think Fiver is a really good sidekick. So he's Hazel's like the main rabbit, who's like the leader who leads all the others on. But Fiver's the one who has the visions that keeps getting them out of danger. Fiver sticks to what he knows is true, even when nobody else around him believes in him. He keeps putting his trust in Hazel and in the others. And he leads them right, and he uses what he's got, even though he's the smallest, weakest rabbit of the bunch. He's the one who keeps getting them to safety. And the love between Fiver and Hazel's really special. Nice. So, yeah, Fiver's my choice.
The next question is based on Grease, which I've only ever seen the film.
Yeah, same.
And the question is least favourite ending.
Is that least favourite ending because they don't like the ending when the car flies off in the sunset at the end?
I guess so.
That's really funny.
Anyway, what did you pick?
Okay, I picked, and I feel bad about it because I like this book as a whole. I picked It by Stephen King. Which, have you read this one?
Nope.
No, because
I've only ever read The Stand.
You've only ever read The Stand because I made you read it. So this has so much going for it throughout. Really good characters, a really good world set up, and a really intimidating monster. But the ending I don't love so much because it feels like it was written on LSD.
Okay.
It's like a psychedelic, interdimensional battle of the minds with swirling colours. And then there's quite a bizarre scene where if you know, you know, which involves children and sexual activity that just feels like it comes out of nowhere. And yes, I don't like that. I don't really like The Last Battle. So like a really good book, but I don't love the ending.
I don't like The Last Battle, the Narnia book. Both as I don't like the ending of the book, and also this being the ending of the series. I think it just all felt very rushed. And with the previous Narnia books, I think Lewis has a set story to tell, and he manages it in the length. But I just think this could have been twice as long. And I know that it's written for children, and I know that all the other books are a similar length, but I just felt like he could have taken more time with it. And I don't know, it just all felt very... There was something missing from it for me. And I think, obviously, reading Narnia as Christians is a different experience for non-Christians.
Yeah.
But something
maybe
about
that gives it even more of a reason to fill out what's going on more. Because like if you're a Christian, you've got some shorthand to understand, I get this. But if you don't have any of that knowledge, it's like, what is going on?
But yeah, I found the first 6 books really, I really, really enjoyed them. And this one just felt very, very rushed and flat. And then, boom, they're all dead.
Yeah. In fact, I think it's on the very last page.
Yeah, something like that. Oh, they were actually all in a train crash, sorry.
Because I've just read this with my daughter, and I knew it was happening, but I did think that the reveal of what was going on happened sooner. But no, it was the very last page of our copy that, by the way, you're all dead and this is heaven.
The next question is based on Matilda the musical, and it is favourite adaptation.
Oh, nice. I went to see the film last November, the new film.
Oh, yeah.
It was really good, really
I've
sweet.
seen parts of the film in class. That's it. It's me first on this one. So I brought the book and the DVD because I'm a try-hard. I went with Pride and Prejudice, but the Keira Knightley version. I know it's not as faithful to the book as it could be, and I know some bits are different, but it's just such a comfort movie for me. I think the team behind it, it's a project that you can see the love in it, and I think the castings are brilliant, and it's just great. I think it's a fabulous reincarnation of Pride and Prejudice, and I could watch this every day and not grow bored.
I agree. I don't think you could get much more faithful for a film length adaptation. I think it's really good, and I love Keira Knightley.
Me too.
Okay, my choice. I didn't bring the DVD case because I don't own it anymore, but I've still got the DVDs.
Okay.
But it's Gormenghast. So the Gormenghast trilogy is quite long, but the first 2 books in it were adapted into a BBC miniseries in the year 2000. And it's absolutely amazing. So in Gormenghast, you've got this city made out of stone that's just, to the people living there, it's like the whole world. There's nothing beyond this stone city. And everybody's lives is ruled by ritual and tradition and ceremonies that they're performed in and out every day, and nobody knows the reason why. so they're locked in all this tedious ceremonial stuff, and then a young kitchen boy called Pike doesn't want to stay in the kitchens anymore, and he schemes and plots and murders and connives his way up to the upper reaches of this society and causes havoc. But the BBC adaptation of it is just amazing. It's like 6 episodes. It's got a fantastic cast, and Christopher Lee was in it. Mm-hmm. And nearly everyone who's been in British TV. Mm-hmm. Stephen Fry's in it. Mm-hmm. Loads of really good people in, but it's so faithful and it's beautifully acted, and it's like just stepping into another world. And
cool.
And I feel like it should get more recognition. Oh, Spike Milligan's in it. Ooh. I think it's like one of the last roles he played before he passed away. He plays this really old head teacher of a school called Diaf.
Like death.
Yeah. So yeah, if you can ever find it somewhere, definitely worth getting and watching.
Our last question is based on Les Mis, which might be one of my favourite musicals.
Uh-oh.
Do you not like Les Mis? Wow. Get out.
I know.
It's your house, but get out.
Do you know, I some of it I like. It's just, they sing everything.
That's the point.
But like they say, oh, I got a letter. Did you get a letter? Yes, I got a letter. What did the letter? I'm going to tell you what the letter said. And just, it's a little bit of singing in between the proper songs that just wind me up. But you say some things now.
You've really upset me there. I can't believe you've done this. Right, the question about Les Mis is favourite fictional death. You're first.
Okay.
Redeem yourself.
You're really acting. I'm sorry, Les Mis.
I'm just kidding. It is what it is.
Okay. So try not to repeat books that have already been in this list. Mm-hmm. And I think this is also a controversial answer, but mine is The Time Traveller's Wife. Mm-hmm. Which I know some people feel this book's overrated.
I've never read it.
I read it like once every 5 years. I keep coming back to it.
Okay.
So in The Time Traveller's Wife, Henry keeps jumping backwards and forwards through his own timeline, and he just can't help it. It just happens to him every now and then. So a huge spoiler for the book. But part of what happens is he begins to realise partway through that although he's seen lots of parts of his life, he doesn't be able to see himself past like 48. Mm-hmm. And he's never got further than that. So he kind of knows for quite a few years that his life is going to be cut short. But he doesn't know how or when. And his wife kind of knows. And there's this tension of how do you say goodbye or know goodbye's coming but not know when. And then even after he's died, the wife has this hope that one day she might see him again, because sometimes he did jump just a little bit beyond his lifespan. So this book grapples a lot with, I guess, with death and knowing your own demise is coming and how you handle it. And it does make me cry, but it's so beautiful because it's all about how much he loves his family and what he wants to do for them and accepting it. So yeah, this Henry's death in The Time Traveller's Wife I think is beautifully done, and it still moves me.
I'm not gonna lie, I kind of got chills when you were talking about it.
So it's like massive spoilers, but I would still recommend reading it.
My choice is another fantasy book, shocker. It's from book 2 of the Malazan series. So in this book, there's a huge refugee train that is being escorted by a group of soldiers and their leader from one city to another. And it's called the Chain of Dogs, and they are set upon on the way by hordes of bad men who are just trying to kill them. And so Coltane is the leader of the army who are protecting this refugee train, and they get to the destination city, and then they get caught by the people. They're so close to the city. They get the refugees in the city. They've saved them all, and then the army in the city don't come out and help them.
No.
It's really it's
okay.
It's awful. But and I think the thing about this death for me is that they know that it's a task that they're probably not going to succeed, but they do it anyway. And then there's this quote. It's not Coltane that says this, but there's this quote about how children are dying, and like that's the state of the world that we're in, and someone has to do something about it. And I think the thing about Coltane's death is the impact that it has on the series. This is the second book in a 10-book series. They're 10 very big books. And the impact that Coltane's death has lasts throughout the whole series, both in the plot, the character. There's like cults built to his name, and also there's like themes of reincarnation and people go into different bodies. So throughout that, and it's kind of hinted at that Coltane's spirit has moved into another body. So the impact that it had on me as a reader, everywhere I looked, I was like, is that Coltane? Is that Coltane? Is Coltane in? Is this Coltane?
Yeah.
When is Coltane going to come back? And I just, it really impacted me.
Yeah.
And I think Malazan was a tough read, but when I'm reading other books, I'm thinking about things in Malazan. And Coltane's Chain of Dogs is one of those things. Yeah, those are all the questions on our musical theatre book tag. If you want to comment some of your answers to those questions below, do feel free. If you want to challenge us to do a different book tag, send them our way. Thank you for watching. We've been Lunenburg Book Club. We'll see you soon.
We've not done anything yet. I can't watch the Disney film anymore though, it makes me cry too much.
Aww, that's sad. The question is going to sound really, I don't know, really trivial now.
I think she's just amazing in everything she's in. And I kind of think if I met her, I'd hope she'd want to be my friend.
I'm not smiling, I'm pulling a stupid face. Sorry. 12 seconds left.
Oh.
Nice one.